let's go over my top 10 Steelers for 2024. And you guys drop your top 10 in the chat, or if you want, as I'm going through this list, critique where I have certain players at certain spots. Let me know where I'm right. Let me know where I'm wrong. But also, yeah, feel free to drop your top 10 in the comments here. I got this produced pretty good too. Watch, you'll see. I got the graphics set up pretty solid here. So we got that. Now let's get to, what do we want to do? I think we go 10-1, right? We're going to go 10-1. I think you all could guess who the top 2 is going to be, but from 10-3, I think there's conversations to be had. I think there's some back and forth. Number 10, I'm going Alex Highsmith. He probably should be higher. I was debating myself on this. I think no matter what, he deserves to be in the top 10 for his consistency. But after last year, it just felt like a little bit of a disappointment. He got the big contract heading into 2023, but was quieter than I expected. I thought he was going to be going on a stretch here of double-digit sack seasons. Had the 14 in 2022. Thought he was at least going to get 10 or 11 this last year, but only had 7, which isn't bad. This is what I mean. Like, still pretty consistent, man. Like, 7 sacks, that's nothing to sneeze at. And the year before he had the 14, he had like 6. Like 3 years of 6, 14, and then 7. You know, that's 27 sacks over the course of 3 years. Like, that's pretty good. That means you're a really good edge rusher. But I expected more. And I think Alex Highsmith expected more from himself last year. But one of the reasons he's in this top 10, and again, one of the reasons he maybe should be higher, is he doesn't just give you quarterback pressures and sacks and everything. He's pretty solid in coverage when asked to do that, and then is also really good at stopping the run. Like, he's an all-around good player. He's Robin to TJ's Batman. Like, they're an awesome duo right now. I wouldn't consider them up in the all-time greats just yet in terms of Steelers edge rush duos. You got a few other names, a few other duos that we could be talking about. But if Highsmith can just keep it up, can he get back to double-digit sack seasons here? Go on a stretch of like 3 or 4, 10, 11, 12 sack seasons, then, yeah, we are talking about TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith being an all-time duo for this Steelers organization. Number 9. Jaylen Warren. Mr. Efficient when he gets the ball. 784 yards on the ground last year with 4 touchdowns, 370 yards receiving, which equals out to 1,154 all-purpose yards. And that is on 210 touches, rushing and receiving touches. You do the math. That's 5.5 yards every time the man gets the ball. Which sounds like to me we should be getting Jaylen Warren the ball more. Like, if he got 100 more looks, 150 more looks, yeah, he might be higher up on this list. But we all know Jaylen Warren's that dude. Jaylen Warren's that dude. And he will block for you. He's probably one of our better non-offensive lineman blockers on this team. Probably the best, honestly. Probably the best. And it'll be a highlight reel too. It's not that he'll block. It'll be a fundamentally sound block. No, he's going to put the dude on the ground. And it looks amazing too because of how small Jaylen Warren is. And the dude that he's pancaking is 3-4 inches taller than him at least, and probably another 20 and 30 pounds heavier than him. Number 8, Najee Harris. I got to give the dude respect, man. I got to give the dude respect. I do think Jaylen Warren's the better running back, but again, we don't give him the ball as much. And I got to give props to Najee Harris for the consistency over these last 3 years. I mentioned it at the top, only running back in the NFL with 1,000 yards these last 3 seasons. He's durable. He's steady. He's consistent, at least on a season-by-season basis. Within a season, he has started off slow at times, but he consistently does get better as the season goes along. So, again, I got to give Najee his props here. And, you know, Najee's taken on a pretty sizable workload his first 3 years here. But he's going into his 4th year. It's not like he's going to be falling off a cliff at all. No, he's still our RB1. We're going to get him to work. He slimmed down this offseason. I don't expect him to tail off at all in terms of production. In fact, this should be a career year for him because of us adding all those pieces on offense and having Russell Wilson and having Arthur Smith as our coordinator compared to what he's had these last couple seasons. At 7, I'm going Cam Hayward, even though last year was a bit of a down year. It's still Cam Hayward. The dude won Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2023. We can't leave the Walter Payton Man of the Year off the list, right? Good guy, obviously, off the field, but also a really good player on the field. Dude's in the conversation for being a Hall of Famer. I think he is. I mean, I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer. I could see why it would be a debate from people that are on the outside in terms of the national media. But he's right there. He should be in the conversation for Hall of Famer. And before this last season, getting banged up and missing he missed half the regular season. He missed like the first 8 or 9 weeks. Before that, after Aaron Donald, he had a case of being the best defensive tackle in the league, really, for a good 4 or 5 year stretch. And he picked it up as he got healthier and healthier as we got down the home stretch there. We were seeing some vintage Cam Hayward plays. So I'm not going to doubt if he can stay healthy this year that he can return to form. So we're giving him his props for his name and his resume, but also, I have no doubt he could still be the Cam Hayward of old for 2024. No doubt. At 6, Joey Porter Jr. Bro, when he was really getting snaps out there, like after the first 4 or 5 weeks, when he was really getting that CB1 time, starters minutes, he was like that, man. Like JP said, he's on record this offseason that he's the best cornerback in the NFL. And I hope he can get there this year. But the way he was playing for the majority of last year, once he was the starter, he wasn't too far off from being the best. I think he was at least top 6 or 7. He followed the other team's top receiver every game, shut them down, didn't get cooked. And that's what you're looking for from your franchise cornerback, from your CB1. Now, to get to the next level, he's got to work on the penalties, maybe get some more turnovers, get some more splash. But JPJ is looking like that guy. And the Steelers have been looking for that guy at the cornerback position for years and years and years. And who would have thought it would be a guy with the last name Porter? Shout out to the Infinity Gauntlet. At 5, George Pickens. We saw what this man is capable of when you can get him the ball properly, like Mason Rudolph did those last few games of the regular season against the Bengals, the Seahawks. He went off. That Bengals game, man, he went off. Almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he was a borderline Pro Bowl receiver. If you just look at last year in totality, a borderline Pro Bowl receiver. And that was with the combination of Kenny Pickett, Mitch, and Mason. And again, Mason was the shining light of those 3 quarterbacks and got Pickens the ball properly. But majority of the time, Pickens was getting the ball thrown to by Mitch and Kenny. You got the insane circus catches that he's capable of that many other receivers, pretty much every other receiver in the league, can't do. Like some of these catches that Pickens is able to make, like no one else is able to make them. But I'm seeing his overall game starting to get polished up. He had 1,100 yards last year, man. Like that's a top receiver in the league. As I mentioned, a borderline Pro Bowl receiver. He had a case. He was an alternate. He had a case to make the Pro Bowl, depending on who dropped out. I can't remember exactly how it went, but he didn't get the nod as an alternate. There was 1 or 2 guys ahead of him, but he was in that mix. And he also led the league in yards per catch last year. 1,100 yards. I think he had like 4 or 5 touchdowns. Like, bro, he's there. He's on the cusp. Like, he's already the floor. He's good. Like, he's Pro Bowlish And that's year 2. That's with a lot of question marks at quarterback last year. That's with Matt Canada as his coordinator. I could only imagine what is possible in year 3 and beyond. So George Pickens at 5. At 4, the new addition on defense, Patrick Queen. We're familiar with him because obviously he was in Baltimore these last 4 seasons. He's had 100 tackles every year he's been in the league. Every year. Now, the 1 year is 98, but I'm rounding up. Each of his first 4 seasons had 100 tackles, almost like the Najee Harris stat. Najee Harris, first 3 seasons, 1,000 yards. Patrick Queen, first 4 seasons, 100 tackles every year. Set it and forget it. He's going to get 100 tackles for you. Last year was his first Pro Bowl. Also made second team All-Pro. Athletic as hell. He can break up passes. He can get you sacks, get you some picks. He's the epitome of what an all-around, do-it-all linebacker is in the modern NFL. And the great part of it is we signed Patrick Queen to this 3-year deal, below market value, below what he probably should have got. Should have got around 18, 19 million. We got him for, oh man, I forget the number. Wasn't it 13? Is it 3 years, 13 million? 3 years, 13 million, 3 years, 14 million per. We got him for less than market value on a 3-year deal. And he's only 24. Only 24 years old. Is only hitting his prime right now. Yeah, I think the best is to come for Patrick Queen. And he's still number 4 on this list. Number 3. I don't know if this is going to be the most controversial one. I don't see it as controversial. You look at just last year, Russell Wilson was 9th in the league in passing touchdowns. He had the 5th best touchdown to interception ratio. Led a Broncos team that I think we can all agree is less than average to a 5-game winning streak to get them back into playoff contention. Beating the likes of the Packers, a Packers team that went to the divisional round over in the NFC. Beat the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions last year. Beat the Bills. Those were 3 of the teams that the Russ and the Broncos beat on that 5-game winning streak. I think it got them to like 6-6. They were like 1-5 to start the season, going on a 5-game streak, gets them to 6-6. That's the type of dude Russell Wilson is. Not only is that like little 5-game winning streak show like on a macro level what Russell's all about, but like we see it on a game in and game out basis on a micro level. Like whenever he's down in a game, whenever it's third quarter, they're down double digits. Don't be surprised if a Russell Wilson led team comes back and pulls off the miraculous. That's what he's all about, man. Like it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Dude's clutch. Just because things ain't going right don't mean he's going to be giving up. That's what you love to see, overcoming adversity. I'm going to give props to the resume, obviously, here. That's one of the reasons why he's 3. But as I just told you right there, like it's not like he's completely washed, like everyone's saying. No, 9th in passing touchdowns, 5th best touchdown to interception ratio last year with a below-average Broncos team, below-average weapons he was dealing with on offense with, Jerry Jeudy. Come on, dude. Jerry Jeudy, one of his top receivers. Dude can't catch a cold. What was going on with his running back? Javonte Williams, he's been banged up the last couple seasons. Sean Payton and the organization sabotaging Russ. They wanted to bench the dude like a month into the season. They told me, "Yeah, we're trying to have you take a seat here." Sean Payton, Russ wasn't even the best fit to begin with. Sean Payton, like how he runs his offense, very meticulous, very like timing approach. Whereas Russ, he's what we're familiar with. His style of play, backyard ball, extending the plays, making things happen, throwing it down the field. So I got him at 3. Not only for everything I just said there, but also the calming presence, the calming factor, the leadership factor that he brings that we've been lacking on offense with this Steelers team over the last couple seasons. Like you guys sense it, right? You guys sense it this offseason. There's no drama. There's no like big concerns. There's no toxicity. There's none of that. No, Russ ain't gonna give you any of that. Dude's gonna put his head down, work hard, stay humble, not give you any headlines, not give you any content that you could talk about. in the media or anything like that. No. He's a professional. He's a Hall of Famer. So I got him at 3. And then we'll just go over these next 2 really quickly. Minkah Fitzpatrick. As I said, you could have guessed these top 2. He's number 2. He is the best safety in the league. And TJ Watt, he is Aaron Donald retired, man. TJ Watt's the best defender in the league. He is the proper defensive player of the year. Not the fake one like Myles Garrett. He is the real decoy. We know who TJ Watt is, man. Last year, 19 sacks, led the league in sacks, set the record, tied the record a couple years ago, 22. I got snubbed. It actually should have been an extra sack. Week 18, that Ravens game. He got the sack on Tyler Huntley. I mean, I don't know what happened there. That was some BS. Should have the record. But I digress. That is my list. What do you guys think? That's my top 10. Solo Jones, going back to GP being listed at 5. He says, if GP works on his routes, no one's stopping him. Absolutely. He's been working with the route god. He's been working with Deontay Johnson's guy. Solo Jones also says Minkah ball is back. It should be. He can't do worse than last year. If you're talking about turnovers, he can't do worse. He got 0, but we still felt the impact that Minkah brings you when he's out there, man. We still feel that impact. He's still the best safety in the league, even with 0 interceptions. The other thing that doesn't go unnoticed, but probably doesn't get talked about enough with Minkah is the dude's toughness. What was it, 2 years ago? He had an appendectomy and was trying to play the next week game. I think like 2 or 3 days after he has an appendectomy, he's like, hey, Coach T, get me out there. That was in that Saints game. Last year, did he break his hand? He broke his forearm or something. He gets it wrapped up and is back out there in the second half. He's the epitome of what Steeler football is all about. Solo Jones says, can't wait to see PQ light it up for us. Y-Town87 says, I think we can do big things with Russ. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys have any questions for me before I bounce out of here? What grade do you give this list? I think this is good, man. I mean, I feel really good about the top 6. Maybe I could bump Highsmith up over Najee and Jalen, but if Highsmith maybe got an extra sack or 2, maybe if he had an extra splash play or 2 last season, that'd be more warranted. But I think 10's good. I think no matter what, Highsmith deserves to be in the top 10. Honorable mentions I'm thinking of: Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, Pat Freiermuth, Adonte Jackson maybe. But I think these are the 10 names. These are definitely the 10 names. Whatever order, maybe you can argue the order a little bit, but I feel good about this list. 9 Sapper as top rookies. I mean, it's probably how we drafted them if you think about it. Like, we had a really good draft. Fautanu in the first round. I hope he starts early. Roman Wilson, he should be getting some looks. Zach Frazier, he should be our starting center. Peyton Wilson. I think out of those 4 names I just listed, our top 4 draft picks, Peyton Wilson, Roman Wilson, Frazier, and Troy Fautanu. Peyton Wilson might have the least clear path to being on the field on a consistent basis just because of who's ahead of him. With Patrick Queen and then Landon Roberts. They're saying Cole Holcomb should be good by training camp too. But if Peyton Wilson can showcase that athleticism and why he was considered the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, like it might be hard to keep him off the field. Now, I guess Troy Fautanu, maybe his path isn't as clear either because it's just like, what are we doing with the tackle position? With Dan Moore, Broderick Jones, Fautanu, where's the competition going to be? Is it going to be between Broderick Jones and Fautanu on the right side? Or are we going to bump Broderick over to left and it's going to be Dan Moore versus Jones at the left side? We're just going to have Fautanu start his career off at right tackle. He's going to be the starter. Yeah, that's, you know what? Never mind. There's some question marks there too. But I like all the guys that we drafted, man. It was a hell of a draft. Dragon Heat asks, Super Bowl run worthy lineup. Yes. Solo Jones agrees. Muth should be an honorable mention. Yep. Yeah. That's why I said his name. Yeah. Maybe Muth would have been on last year's list coming off of that 700-yard season in his sophomore year. But he was hurt last year. Production took a hit. Yeah, it doesn't make the top 10. Key Deck says Muth will ball this year, top 5 tight end without a doubt under new offensive coordinator scheme. I hope so. Yeah, everyone's ripping on Arthur Smith and his utilization of Kyle Pitts, his utilization of tight ends. Smith's first year in Atlanta with Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards. Jonnu Smith had some really good seasons out there with the Titans that ended up getting him paid with the Patriots. So, I mean, I think the lack of tight end utilization the last 2 seasons were more due to the Falcons having Desmond Ridder and Tyler Heineke. And did they have another quarterback there? I don't know. Just them having a mess at the quarterback position versus Arthur Smith. I think that was more of the reason. Nine Sapper also asked, do you think Darnell will be more part of this offense? I hope so, man. I really do. If we don't utilize him this year or into next year, I'll be disappointed. It'll make us drafting Darnell Washington feel like a waste because we moved back in that 3rd round. There were all those linebackers that were available that we were liking early in the 3rd, middle of the 3rd, and we passed on all of them, moved back. All of them got drafted, so they weren't available whenever we eventually did pick in the 3rd round, and we decided to go with Darnell Washington, which I was thrilled about. There were talks about Darnell Washington being a late 1st, maybe early 2nd round pick, and we got him late in the 3rd. Obviously was the best blocking tight end coming out of the draft. Probably still one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. Like he's up there. Like he's really solid, but yeah, we got to utilize him more out in open space. Hopefully we can. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone for stopping through. This was a blast, man. This was a blast. Yeah, it's the weekend, man. Everyone have a good time. Stay safe out there. I will see you guys in July at some point for the next live stream. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you know when that is. Training camp's a month away, a month and a week away. Football season is almost here. Here we go, Steelers. Stay chilling. Like I said, enjoy the weekend. Stay safe. Peace.